Uh, hey everyone.
Hello.
Hi.
All right. So I missed last class. How did the class go?
It went well, I think. Uh, they played the pitch and also the physical prototype videos. I had some questions. Jason shared the summary, and I think you already saw it. Yeah, I think we went well.
Okay. The I remember there was a someone brought up a question about the scope. What did the professor say about our general scope?
I think we just need to deliver the features that we want. We said that we will. Like I think mainly a full game loop where you can start a game and then just end a wave or two or something like that.
Gotcha.
And yeah,
Okay.
and
And for our PowerPoint update, we're supposed to put one or two slides in about a specific feature that we're trying to sell.
oh,
Got.
for next week, yeah, that's true.
Okay.
And then make sure that that gets shown when we do the prototype presentation as well.
Gotcha. All right. Yeah. We'll let people kind of meander in here. I noticed the long list of questions for the design, and I did create a response for each of them with a little bit of review and help from James. Um, Before I get into that, was there anything else? Like, what's the topic of the meeting today? Discuss roles, go over design.
I was hoping more people are here, but yeah, the topic is to sync up and I think to have all the roles set for everybody. I like do the same as we did last week. Create the tasks and assign the tasks.
Gotcha. Okay. Alrighty.
Let's
Well,
see.
I can go ahead and start answering some of those design questions.
Yeah, I didn't read your document to be honest. If you can go over it, it would be nice.
Yeah. Let me. Trust. So, the initial question, the first question, when the professor asked what our main feature is that we were highlighting, um, I put down it was the dual grid turn based naval combat system, utilizing the unique ship attack movements, patterns, and wave escalation. But skipping most of it, to be concise, it's the unique ship firing and movement patterns on the dual grid naval combat system. So the grid system itself and the wave spawning, think of that as kind of the test bed, the constants, and the attack patterns and movement rules are the iterative elements. Is what is defined and refined uh, over play.
That makes sense. Yeah.
And anyone feel free to speak up if it's not making sense or you have questions or anything. Or if I got something wrong, that's very possible too. Uh, there was a suggestion to highlight the area on the enemy board to show where the attack area is for each player's ship, e.g., a colored spot on the enemy board that mirrors where the head of the player's destroyer is. So basically, lighting up on the enemy grid where you're about to hit. And yeah, that's an excellent suggestion. I put that in the GDD, where we'll highlight all the cells on the enemy grid that are about to be hit, given the current configuration of the player and what settings they've put for each of the ships. When we progress to the next round, do we still...
Just
Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So for the random positions with the highlight, you said all the possible position should be highlighted. Is that?
Yes, so there's two different coloring schemes I thought we could use. So like if you have a constant hitting spot, so like say a destroyer hitting the one spot, then it's a solid color, it's very visual, it's you can name the color, the art department can figure out what color that should be, but it's a solid color compared to a kind of translucent color overarching all the spaces that can be hit for, say, the cruiser and a 3x3.
Okay, yeah. Or so for the other one, the battleship, which has like four random and entire map, so we will highlight the entire map. That is valid to be shot with that different color to know the possible.
Yeah, when it comes to the battleship, that the visual there probably has to be refined because yeah, otherwise it is lighting up the entire grid. That is a good point. So it could be the case that this particular rule ignores the battleship in its firing phase, or the battleship's attack pattern could be revised to a like a 3 radius attack, depending on where it is. Which of those two it seems preferable?
I think before revising it, we need to play test it. This might force to have like a feature to be. I like it that it is random because the others are pretty limiting. And position based, but this one is just gives you the advantage of hitting anywhere.
Yes,
So
and
I like, yeah.
and it doubles as, in my mind, and this has to be tested. When the enemy ships are firing at you, of course, you're against an AI, so whether your hits on the enemy grid make any sense to the AI or not is moot. But on your grid, if the enemy battleship is hitting 4 random spots, that can disguise where their ships are. It can disguise where their destroyer is, where their cruiser is, depending on where they hit. So pinpointing the exact location of the enemy destroyer and cruiser and whatnot might be particularly, or not particularly, more difficult than like if it was pinpoint on your location.
So for the highlight, just an idea, we can have a border that lights up the entire map, and not. I mean, just the edges will light up when you. I mean, it just telling the player you don't need to light up every cell, but just show them that the entire map with a like a thick border, that this is the area of effect or something like that.
Yeah, that's a good idea. And
Just saying.
it could also be the case that it shows the attack pattern when you hover over the ship, like not like a constant. It could be both. It could be either it just shows it on the enemy grid depending on your placement, or you can like hover your mouse over a ship and it'll show where it's about to fire at. for the first iteration, maybe is it possible to do both and compare it?
Hovering versus what? The other one?
Over just showing it. So, like, there's two ways to show where it's about to hit on the enemy grid, where it's either it shows all of the attack patterns on the enemy grid at once without any input, or
Uh-huh.
you hover over one of your own ships, say a destroyer, and it shows where it's about to hit on the enemy grid only when you hover over it.
Okay. Yeah, I think, in my opinion, we should go with the hover option. But if we implement that, then it would be easy to switch between this mode and all to be highlighted at the same time. So,
Perfect.
ju-
Yeah, that'll be a good
Yeah.
test to see which feels better. Uh,
okay.
Near misses. Are the yellow near misses actually useful since the ships are moving? I said yes. They indicate ship proximity. If you know where a ship is and can deduce what type it is, you can narrow down where it's going to be on the next round based on its movement rules. It's all information about where the enemy ship is. If you can deduce based on where you've previously hit and what missed and what did hit, you can, I think, and this has to be tested too, I think you'll be able to start deducing what type of ship it is, and then from that you can figure out where to move your ships to try to predict where it's going to be. Because you'll know, if it's a battleship you're firing at, it'll only be in one of two spaces most of the time. It can only move one space left or right. Or top and down if it's oriented up. Cruisers, same thing. You'll have a harder time finding destroyers and subs, but you get the gist.
There was one hidden question here.
Yeah.
Oh, I think that's the last one. No, the next question is, I think, highlighting it. Yeah. Okay.
So, to show a near miss on just the 4 adjacent cells, or do we include diagonals? I said no diagonals. It's 1 rook movement away from any given ship segment that's indicated. That goes for the length of the ship. Any cell that contains a ship segment, if a shot would hit directly horizontally or vertically of it, would be lit up, would be indicated. Does that make sense? So, like, if you had your sub, for example, 1 by 1, there's 4 possible near misses: darkly north, east, south, and west. If you had a cruiser lengthwise, you would have the 3 cells above it, 3 cells below it, and a cell to the left and right of it.
Yeah, makes sense to me.
Okay. What happens if we hit the same part of the ship that was previously damaged? Now that is a good question.
Wait a second. Did you answer that? Should they also be colored in the next round?
Yeah.
So it's mark the different color and remain visible until with the next firing phase. Okay, so they will remain there for 1 round.
Yes. So, first point on that is the total ship itself will have a number of hit points equal to the number of segments it has. If it's a cruiser, it has 3 hit points, battleship 4, destroyer 2, submarine 1. And you can hit the same spot of a ship, and it will damage those hit points equally. If it goes down to 0, the ship is destroyed. If you hit a segment of a ship that has armor, and armor I'll discuss later if we get to upgrades, then the damage doesn't go to the ship, it goes to the armor first, and no damage to the total HP pool is done. As for the coloring, if you hit a segment of a ship, it will indicate the hit. It'll show the hit once you end the turn on the movement phase and go to the firing phase on the next round. So you'll have basically one extra movement phase to show the previous hit. And we can actually change the color of that so it's not confusing to say from red to brown, kind of showing it was hit, but it was hit in the last round. So you have a general sense of where it is, maybe not its orientation, but you'll know kind of where it is if you hit it. Yeah. If the hits are invisible in the next round, I already answered that. Ships have total HP, which decrement upon sustaining hits to any segment not protected by armor. If an attack duplicate the same spot, if it hits the same spot, do we re-roll? Nope. If it just hits the ship again, it does damage again.
Mm-hmm.
After a ship is destroyed, does it stay there? For now, it will remain. It'll be an obstacle. It cannot be moved onto until the end of the wave. So at the end of the wave, it goes away, and then new ships can spawn and move around again. We can test that, see how it works. If it feels too constricting, we can change it to go away next time. Rotating the destroyer means you're forced to shoot the same spot as last round. It's a good point. Currently, rotating 3 of the 4 ships means hitting the same spot, generally, unless it has a randomness about it, like the Battleship. Only the sub cares about its orientation when firing. A ship rotation is a powerful mechanism to change the cells in which it occupies, especially the larger ships. It is unlikely a destroyer will ever need or want to change its orientation.
So that's not entirely correct, because if a sub changes its orientation, it's hitting up to 10 cells. And if a cruiser changes its orientation, it changes its center point that it can hit around. The 9 points it can hit.
Actually, you're right. Good point, because it's not hitting from the center point or the bow. It's hitting from the center point. Good catch.
Battleship is always random, so
Yes, indeed.
so it's just a destroyer that kind of like really doesn't move its. Basically, there's no reason to rotate your destroyer.
Yes. So to answer that, the ever so marginal reason you may find to want to rotate a destroyer may be that you're in a situation where multiple ships are around the destroyer and they've been destroyed and they're in a blocking pattern and you have to rotate to get out of that. Or you just want to throw off the attack.
I don't think it matters which way the bow's pointed as to which direction it goes.
Well, where it wants to fit when it arrives on the destination.
Okay.
Either way, though, I've changed it so that destroyers and subs, they can rotate and move on the same movement phase. So that however you want to orientate or move the destroyer or the sub on the movement can be done in one go. But cruiser battleships still require either a choice between rotation or movement.
Okay. Should the change of orientation take away like one of the distance points it can reach? Like instead of going 3 points away, you can rotate and go 2 points away?
That's possible.
Complicate things, but just to make it fair that you did rotate.
Sure, we could do that. Let me add a note here.
I did not quite understand the parts. Does the part of the ship that is hit will be visible next round or not?
Yes.
I think he decided to use that.
He said what?
Oh, sorry. Do you mean whether that cell is going to stay red?
Yeah.
Yes.
Or is it going to move with the player?
Move with the player. The player ships are not going to be highlighted in red. It's just the enemy grid because it doesn't matter whether the enemy sees the red highlight on the player side because it just fires and moves however it does. It's only the information on the enemy grid hits wise that matters whether it retains it from the previous round to the next round.
Okay, and do we show the ships that is already hit the cells will be red, even if it is moved on the enemy side?
Yes.
Are you
So
saying that the enemies won't move?
they can move, yes. What you would see if you could envision this, if you hit an enemy ship, that cell highlights red, and then when you click end turn and go to the movement phase of the next round, you would see that red dot, if it moved, change to a different grid.
Okay, so that grid of the ship is lit, something like that. It will that cell of the ship. No, that part of the ship will be lit if even if it's moved, something like that.
Yep. It
But
go ahead.
go ahead, continue. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. I was just saying, if a part of the ship is hit, it lights up red on that fire phase, and then next phase, if it moves, that a new cell will be lit up red, and the previous cell will go back to normal, because the segment highlights the cell that it's hit in. So if you have a battleship that gets hit in the bow, this is on the enemy side, and it moves back a space. Say it was hit in 1-8, for example, and the bow then moves to 1-7. On the next phase, 1-7 is lit up red instead of 1-8.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But then that kind of defeats the purpose of just having hit points rather than actually hitting each part of the ship. You might as well hit each part of the ship if you know that you can't hit that red spot again.
Yeah, you're right. We had that before. Like, if you hit any spot of the ship twice, it will count as a new hit to the ship.
Yes.
So that means that you can always hit the red spot and destroy that ship in time. Something like that.
Yeah,
Not in
you know exactly a location that you can hit instead of the places around it.
Sorry, say it again.
So in above, let me find that section first. It said. Oh, it says you're asking what happens if we hit the same part of the ship that was previously damaged. And you said, great question, and this brings a new design idea. Ships would have hit points, a total for the ship. If a section is hit, its total hit points decrement by 1. And if hit points drop to 0, the ship is destroyed and revealed. Okay?
Yes.
So this means that even we hit the red area that we already hit before, twice or 3 times, that ship, depending on the life of that ship, it gets destroyed. If it needs 3 times, you just need to hit the red spot 2 more times.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, that's okay with you. Just wanted to check.
Yes. It's not always
Either or. It should either be the if it has total hit points, then you shouldn't be able to hit the same place again. That's what it feels like.
Well, you're not always going to be able to hit that spot again on the next round, depending on where your fleet is and where your ships are positioned. 2 of the 3 ships are randomly hitting. The sub has good distance and movement. It might be able to get there in time, depending on where it is when you hit it.
Well, the destroyer has a lot of movement, so.
The
no, the destroyer is the 2. The sub is a 3.
Yes, indeed. You might have to rotate, and we just added a new rotating cost of movement. And the ship that just moved might move again, depending on maybe you hit a destroyer and now it moved 3 spaces away and you can't really hit that spot anymore, depending on what ship hit it. And it only lasts, the marking only lasts for a round. Once you move again, it'll go away and you're not going to be quite sure where it went. But it's also a function of, what's the word for it? Keeping the time of the engagement to not a minimum, but less, because there can be, I can envision times where it's just, let's say, for example, you've got like a sub and a battleship against a sub and a battleship or whatever, and it's just taking forever to try to find the other ship. Well, because you can be hitting random spots and going on lines, and you're just never finding it. It takes 9-10 rounds to find the ship and finally destroy the thing. Especially if it's just a ship or 2 left on the board. This kind of gives away, if you actually do hit one of the ships, a way to kind of hone in on it and really sink it. Without, spending forever trying to find it and destroy it.
Yeah, that makes sense. We can test it and see how it feels, as long as we have a rule to implement. Rotating would be.
And yeah, rotating to be especially limited to AI, particularly if higher waves. So on this front, this is a kind of stress test deal. We can see and we can test. My initial idea is that the grid expands every like 5 waves, 10 by 10 to 11 by 11, and then new ships spawn in the new area. But the core features that we're testing are the attack patterns and the movements and whatnot, and maybe the upgrades if we got those features in. New waves and increasing waves, I would wait to implement until we have those other features. It feels like a kind of expansion goal. And what do you guys feel about that?
Yeah, I think we're only supposed to implement like 1 level. So basically 1 wave is 1 level.
Yeah, so think of waves and increasing waves and wave difficulty as what we would do if we have the core feature in place. Once we've done prototyped all of the main features, which is just that 1 level. I'm envisioning just a 4 ship versus 4 ship kind of test, and we can see if we want more or less ships than that in the initial engagement. But that, I think, would be a good test to start with. For the AI, I get that there's a 50-50 chance the ship will move at all, but if moving, so this is a question of AI control and whether it should be moving or rotating at any given time. My solution I come up with, it has a 50-50 chance for destroyers or subs to rotate, and then a separate 50-50 chance whether it also moves. Because previously mentioned, destroyers and subs can rotate and move on the same phase. So just separate them out, 50-50 for each. As for cruisers and battleships, kind of similar, but it's a 50-50 whether they will remain the same or do something. And then if they decide to do something, it's a 50-50 whether they rotate or move. So effectively a 25% chance for a rotation and a 25% chance for a movement. If that makes
There
sense.
is one exception.
Yeah.
What happens if they can't? You roll and you say, okay, this ship should rotate, but it can't rotate. Does it
If the rotation or
prioritize
the
the move,
movement
or
is... Yeah. So if the rotation or the movement is invalid, it tries the other. And then if the other is also invalid, then it defaults to staying put. So if it tries to rotate and it figures out, there's a ship there, or there's the boundary there, that's invalid. All right, try to move. If it's a battleship, try to go, let's say, back one and then try to go forward one. If either of those are invalid, I'm stuck here. And then it just doesn't move.
Sounds good. I was even thinking that the chance for it to move at all could be a kind of a difficulty thing that we add. We give it like 10% more chance to move each round. And if we have the full thing developed, like if we aren't just developing this one wave, we could start with it not moving at all. The enemy's not moving at all for the very first round, for the first wave, and then increasing it by 10% chance that they'll move each additional wave or something.
That's a good idea. That's a good expansion difficulty test. I've written that down. If we get to the point where we're implementing multiple waves, that can be added to the design.
Cool.
All right. I get that the submarine can hit any of 10 spaces in a row or column. Does it start from its position, the first cell after both? Okay, so this is the question about basically sub-attack pattern. I think it would be easiest if I changed my stream to the graphs, attack pattern rules. And I've updated these as well to be a little easier to see. So when it comes to subs, let's say your sub is at grid 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, 6. And it's oriented left to right. It'll hit on the enemy grid at the origin of the, how do I phrase it? It starts, if it faces right, it'll go from left to right. If it faces left, it'll go from right to left. In this case, it's facing left to right, so on the enemy grid, it's going to attack left to right. And if it hits any ship in the interim, then it goes no more. It hits it and then stops. If it's facing bottom to top, then it'll fire on that column from the very bottom to the very top. And if, again, it hits a ship, it stops.
So, okay. Right now we have 2 orientations, but now I think now I should update that to 4 orientations.
Yes.
And yeah, and we have the sub pattern, and if I understand right, if it hits a ship, it will stop, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Yep, if there's any ship in this line and it hits it, nothing behind it will be hit.
Okay.
So one strategy is you can use your like battleship or your other ships in order to protect your sub by putting them on the same column and same row.
That's a great idea, yeah. You could also hide behind your own ships against the enemy submarines.
Right.
And
Yep.
vice versa, I suppose. You got to get in the right spot. All right, so that's the submarine. Let me change it back. If it starts from the ship or off the bow, does it wrap? Oh, that's the same submarine. Oh, I think I just answered that. If you have a submarine at 5-5 and it's faced left-right, it'll start from 5-1 and go to 5-10. And if it's facing right to left or east to west, It starts from 510 and ends at 5-1. The destroyer seems really weak, with only attacking one cell, especially compared to the sub that has up to 10 cells that it can hit. That is a good call, and I was thinking about that when I was designing the destroyer's hit pattern. And then I remembered destroyers, when used in World War II, were also sub-hunters. So what if we have it so that it has 2 attack options? It's the only ship that has 2 options for its attack that you can set during the firing phase. It can either do the same attack that was described before, it hits its bow position, or it lays a mine. And quote unquote lays a mine. It hits in a I have to change this. It hits in a 1 radius. 2 was too big. It hits a 1 radius around the bow, basically a 3x3. But it can only hit the submarine. So it's a sub-hunting tool and a precision striker.
If I wanted to suggest, I would have suggested it can hit anywhere in the map, but only one cell. But this is also interesting.
It is going to add to the UI that there's 2 options for that one boat, and only 1 option for all the other boats.
I think we can hold on to this feature, but to have it, if we have enough time.
Unless there's always other options like detection options. Is it like when we add the detection stuff in, is it that you get to choose to attack or detect?
So right now there's no detection options designed. When it comes to detection, right now it's purely, it hits the enemy grid and it's either a miss, a hit, or a near miss. Beyond that, it's just attack patterns. For this attack in particular, I would say you wouldn't see the misses on the enemy grid when it comes to your next movement phase, like for the mine in particular, because it only lasts 1 round. It's in every other way, it's the same attack as any other ship, except that it only hits subs. Like the only difference is it's a 3x3.
The simplicity of UI, though, maybe instead of having 2 options, we just have it do both for the first phase.
I suggest that we just have it 1 for the first phase. Just hit the same position. But let's not overcomplicate things, because these are a lot of features.
That's true.
Let's complete the game with what we have. If we have more time, we add more to it. But I mean, we can have it in our task list, but have it with less priority at least.
Yeah, that makes sense.
We could, that needs more thought, I guess, because the hitting the bow position and hitting the larger radius sub position, if you did both, it would be a case of, well, would that be okay? I'm envisioning where a destroyer is on a grid, and if you hit the sub with the main shot and also the mine hit, I guess that would be okay. Yeah, can we do both? Where you hit the center spot with a normal attack, and you do a 3x3 around it, detecting the sub. How does that feel?
It's just a little more complication. Tahir might be right that we just put it as a lower priority, that we'll get to it in week 3 if we can.
Okay. Well, that's just a suggestion to get rid of the extra UI element. Um,
Yeah.
all right.
But it occurs to me that none of the other attacks limit themselves to just the sub, a specific boat. So that becomes a special case.
That's true. There's only 4 boats though, so there can be some speciality to them. Starting on the 6th round, the number of enemy ships will begin to increase by 1. Okay, so this is a question about again incremental strength on waves and balancing for that. We discussed this isn't high on the priority for our prototype, but I just suggested if we did do waves, you'd have a armor increase every mod 2 waves because ideally you want incremental difficulty every round, and then like every 3 waves, like suggested. That's a good idea to add an extra ship, and it could follow a specific protocol to figure out which ship you're adding. So for example, a 3-3-2-1 ratio between a sub destroyer cruiser battleship, which can be tested to see what scales is the more difficult, less difficult, what feels right. So if we get to implementing multiple waves, we can run into that route. And then I just suggested the potential research questions, design research questions. We don't have to go into these if we don't want to. I wasn't exactly sure if we needed them. I just noticed them in the list of requirements early, like week 1. I'm not even sure if these are the kind of questions and format that are required. So,
No, I think you have to go back to look at the downloads, and there's a template for it. It looks completely foreign. It's kind of a task list, but it's longer than a task list. It's kind of like tracking it.
gotcha. Okay. Then
It's
disregard.
got user story, proposed method, difficulty to build, estimated time, expected results, fidelity/accuracy to final product, and recommendations.
Gotcha. Does anyone know when these research questions should be made, should be worked on, when they're due?
They were supposed to be due with our previous delivery.
Gotcha. All right.
It's actually in the description somewhere.
Gotcha.
But the teacher didn't bring it up, so maybe he's fine with what we gave him.
Cool. And I suppose that will be the priority next, at least on the design team. Other than that, that's what I've got so far.
Thanks, Connor. That was thorough. And
Yeah, thanks for answering all those.
Yeah, and I've updated the GDD with most of the changes here as well. It should be a little easier to read. And I've uploaded the projectile rules visual diagram and the movement rules visual diagram. You just have to open it in, what's it called? App diagrams, Draw.io, when it asks you to.
yeah, so I was thinking about programming tasks. There are quite a few, but the thing is, some of them are not possible without the other ones. Like, if you don't have the ship movement script and rotation logic, then so for example, if somebody wants to work on the AI for their movement, nothing works. So I was supposed to do the
I
ship
don't see anything
movement.
blocking the movement.
Yeah,
Right
I
in the
was
movement.
supposed to work on that, so I can try to fix it as soon as possible.
Oh,
And
you were going to work on the movement?
um, I think so because that was what was written after the grid.
Okay.
ship placement and movement. So the placement is already done, but the movement isn't.
Are you talking the player side movement or the enemy side movement?
I think they just it shouldn't matter. At this point, we should just have a move function on the grid, and then on the player, it will trigger by, for example, mouse click. On the enemy side, it will be triggered by your, for example, your AI function or something like that.
Right. There would still need to be some AI function that told it where to move to.
Yeah, but you can use the move function that is already implemented. So, for example, the ship, you say, okay, you decide ship number 1 is going to move upwards, and by your random logic, and then you just call that function that is also being used for the player.
It can
Okay.
yeah, it can remove it. Sorry, it can return a boolean, and you can check whether it was successfully moved or not, and then
Yeah.
follow the logic
That's-
after that.
I mean, if Jason, you're working on the AI, you can start working on it and call those functions with a comment section in the comment section, and but it would be better for you or anyone else who's working on AI to wait for the movements are done already. That's
Okay.
one part. The other
I've got other things I can work on tonight and tomorrow. So if you're going to work on that by Friday.
I tried to finish that earlier than Friday, so
Okay.
if I
problem.
started tonight, I might be able to finish it tomorrow. So tomorrow is Friday? No, it's Thursday, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I think I can finish it, but and there is the attack patterns also. Me and Robert worked on it a little bit, and we have for some functionality in, but I think I also need to yeah, we need to update a few things. Like for the submarine, the direction is right now fixed to either vertical or horizontal. We need to have south, east, west, and north.
Yeah, that'll change. That'll change one line of my code where I'm doing the random orientation. I
Yeah.
was actually going to use random.random function, but my IntelliSense is telling me that that function doesn't exist.
You use mathf.random. Unity is random.
Mathf.random? Okay.
Let me see if that's the case. But Unity random is better than the C Sharp's default random.
Okay.
At least for our case. If you want a deterministic random system, then you need to go with the C Sharp, right? Because it accepts a C. I mean, either way is fine. It's not that important at this point.
No, I was just looking for, random.range was the function I was trying to use.
Yeah,
and that
random
was showing up in the system.random class. Okay. So I'll use mathf.random.
Yeah.
One.
So what else is there? Okay. One thing is a bit concerning is on the player side, we need a UI or like elements to show where the ship can move to before moving it, or rotate to, and this requires a design. Like it needs help from the design to decide how is ship movement, rotation, UI UX will look like. Like, for example, you select the first ship, or will it be automatically selected for you? How do you switch between the ships you want to move? How do you perform the rotation? What do you see when you click on it? So these are the questions that it's hard to imagine all by just a programmer. They need to be like some sort of a direction or instructions for how to implement those.
Initial thoughts is chess rules. You touch a ship and it'll highlight on the player grid where it can move, and then you could click a grid and then it would move to that grid. And there would be, say, one button on it or some visual aspect on top of it that you can choose to rotate it, and then you could follow the rules between sub destroyers, cruisers, battleships if it costs a movement or not.
So one question: if you are looking south or north, but you can rotate east or west, can you rotate to south or east or north?
Hang on, I'm having trouble visualizing it. If you're saying,
So imagine you can rotate to the left or right, but you can just rotate 180 degrees. That's the only possibility. I mean, because you should always be able to rotate 180, or not always. Oh, you will rotate on the bow, so not always. But either way, what I'm trying to say is, do you need to be able to rotate 90 degrees per time, or can you just swap a 180 degree rotation?
no,
Nevertheless.
always 90. Either direction, though.
Oh, so you can't. Okay, okay. So you mean you cannot jump 180 degree rotation?
Correct. And it can be the case that, like, if you get into a corner, like if the cruiser's up here, the only course of action it can take is to either back up or rotate 90 degrees counterclockwise and then start going downward.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So and do you have one rotation per turn?
Yes.
190 degree. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, that's all. And okay, so
Hey,
for the design of that, you need two buttons to switch between. When you select the ship, you should see select between rotation or
hey,
so, and
yeah,
then
so,
place.
yeah, sorry to interrupt. I just want to remind that, or ask the team that now that you're talking about the UI and buttons, if maybe someone could do like like a list of all the UI and buttons that we will need to make, the art team. So, yeah, we can have those and start working on them.
Yeah, that's a good idea. And if we could have some mock-ups like you have here, um, with those showing how the UI should work on the screen, that will be also a lot of help to the programming team.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm working on the mockups and iteration on the one that I sent on the art and all discussion. But yeah, right now since I don't know like exactly what all the buttons or powers will be, I know they're on the GDD, but yeah, like to have like a specified list for us to work will be very helpful.
Okay, and I think we need buttons to move from switch turns. Like once you're done with ship movement, maybe you press a button then to go to the next phase, which is attacking or have the enemy attacks start. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, sorry to interrupt. Just wanted to remind and ask for that. But yeah, thank you.
Great.
I do have a design question between the attacking phase and the movement phase. Does the player do attack and then movement, and then the enemy does attack then? Or is it player attack, player movement, enemy movement?
Good question. They happen all firing happens on the same phase, and all movement happens on the same phase between both sides. So you have the firing phase. Um, Technically, the player fires first, and then the enemy fires, but it's sequential. Nothing happens between it. And then you end turn and you go to movement phase. And technically, they're both simultaneous. You move and the enemy moves. You don't see where the enemy's moving, of course, but if you were to, well, you might.
If you hit them, you will see where the enemy's moving.
That's true.
Though. So
you'll see that first. You'll see the enemy move first.
So the enemy should move first, then.
Yes. It should be like an automatic kind of thing. When you end phase on the attack phase, then that's the point at which all the enemy ships either move or don't move. And then the player has their options of moving their ships however they want.
So the phases are player fires, enemy moves, then player moves.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. So I can coordinate with the art team to start working on that list of UI elements. I can start getting the research questions going for the proper layout. Does anyone else have any work they can claim, work on, and any other questions regarding anything at all, like design or art elements or anything you need to get started?
Not from the design, but it would be nice to catch up with Andy and have set up all the tasks for everybody.
Gotcha.
I know my task, but there are. I'm pretty sure there are a lot of other tasks coming as well. So I can start working tonight, and by tomorrow, we can do another sync up with Andy. Not all of us, but just some of us. And just to for everybody to know their role for this week.
Yeah, that would be a good idea. We'll see if he's available, because I know I think he said he would only be like really available come Friday, unless I have that mistaken.
Ready?
Uh,
Okay. So yeah,
early Saturday.
that's all I get.
Yeah, so that's why, like, until then, if anyone doesn't know what they're doing or doesn't have a task to work on until tasks are laid out, speak up now, and we can decide as a team what you can work on, at least until that point, if you want to start working on it.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So as far as the combat, or am I continuing with refining working on the submarine and all the other ships targeting?
Yeah, you need to wait for me to do some updates regarding the grid and player movement
Okay.
and yeah, and ship movement, and then yeah, update the targeting system, and also we would need so
So what is there to do that is not currently claimed?
um
I could look at let me look at the tasks.
I have all the tasks in my head, but I don't have the correct order yet. I think we need to write it down. So we need turns. We need the UI for selecting and rotating ships. We need the AI. We need the movement. We need highlighting the area uh, of impact. We need to implement sound and explosions, VFXs, if and SFXs, um, in the right time, right place. So there are plenty of things to do, but there is a good order, and I think I need to update the grid and the movement first, and then probably most most of the tasks gets freed up to be implemented, which I will do by tomorrow.
All right, so the programming team will wait on your lead to her.
Okay, okay. I will try to write a detailed list of programming tasks and a follow up of what I did by tomorrow
So,
afternoon.
do we have an idea of what other like UI tasks are needed, or is that waiting on the movement UI that you were talking about?
No, no, yeah. Your UI can have like a restart, can have an options menu where you have buttons
Yeah.
for now. Like
Well, I mean,
yeah,
I can expand. I can get the options menu, and I can essentially expand on that. But I just wasn't sure about anything with like the world overlay and whatnot, and any changes I need to make to that.
yeah. I'm not sure about the whole UI flow, but you can add a restart button.
Yeah.
Um, and also
Do
you
we?
can have another some UI widgets maybe like for for s- for selecting the ship and changing mods. They will be like most likely empty shells, but we need those. And for that, you probably need to wait for the mockups to be ready.
All right.
We're also going to need a UI that shows how much damage you've done to enemy ships, so that you
True.
know which ones are still. Actually, you won't see the damage done to them. You'll only see which one's sunk.
But
Yeah.
you
Okay.
see
Yeah,
the
I have that, and that's it's not functioning, but I have the placeholders for that, so it'll essentially change the color of whatever enemy ships are there that you sink. So I just yeah, I just have to expand that.
but you still need to track your ship's health. So
Yeah. So it'll just be instead of like right now I just have colored rectangles, but it'll be like a picture of the ship that's colored where it'll essentially I'll end up slicing the image so it's in sections. So it'll have one section per hit point per ship or whatever, and it'll just change the color of it, like the
mhm.
material color of it. I don't think it should be that
Oh,
hard.
oh, Connor, I have a question for you. So
Yeah.
the random positions that you choose um, for for the
Cruiser?
cruiser or the battleship, right?
Uh huh.
Can they interfere? Like, or should we check if it's already like, for example, let's assume the cruiser should
You're saying if
and
it can hit the same spot twice in its randomly selected set of.
yeah, yeah.
To that, I would say. I would say yes. If it hits the same spot
Mhm.
twice, and if there's a ship there, it damages it twice. If
Mhm.
there's not, then you'll just see two missed spots. That should keep it clean
But
and easy.
the same question will not apply for the same ship, right? The cruiser cannot hit two spots of the same cell
Oh,
itself, or can it?
I'm sorry. I I think I'm
Oh,
misunderstanding the
bad.
question.
Yeah,
So
yeah, that was bad English. So the cruiser chooses 3 points, right?
yes,
Random points in a 9 by 9, 3 by 3 grid.
yeah,
Um, so can it have, uh, for example, cell 0, 0 twice
yes,
selected? Oh, it can.
yes.
Like,
In that specific case where it hits the same cell multiple times, uh, it would if there's a ship there, it would damage it twice. If there's not a ship there, then it's just a miss.
okay. So we need to be able to also visually convey the the hit, for the player to understand that if the same spot is getting hit. So maybe with some delay between each hit and some explosion effect in the future. All good.
Yeah, ideally there should be some animations for the hits and misses and near misses.
Yeah, the VFX should do for now.
Do we
Oh,
have
and we need
anybody?
someone in charge of importing all these assets, downloading them from the asset store and importing them in.
Do we have anybody on the team that is audio or like doing the audio, like the background music or the sound effects that we all need?
Well, Christina can do some more work. Like, wasn't she just doing the presentation?
You said that. I know you didn't mean it that way, but that was funny to me. Yes,
I meant that she probably has some more hours.
yeah. No, I got you. I just that's why I laughed. It's just the way it sounded. I mean, there's no other way to say some things. It's just I just thought it was funny. But yeah, you're right. She's only really done the presentation, so
What's her strings?
that's an excellent question. Somebody else has? Let me scroll to the very top. Let's see what the
Just
message
done
is.
some 2D
Production
art.
Oh
art?
wait, never mind. We have a document for this. Duh.
Producer, artist, texture, UV, documents, research, props, and environment.
We can ask her. I don't think she'll have a problem with doing audio. I mean, it's not like it's terribly hard.
Yeah.
If not, that's something that I can tackle.
If she's art and UV, she can also be in charge of importing assets as well. She could basically be the Unity store to project baseline, bringing in all the assets to use.
That's also a valid role.
I'll bring it up to her and see if she's comfortable doing the audio. If not, I'll be willing to take over on that part, and I can mention the asset part. See if she's willing to do that.
Okay, we're going above an hour, like around 72 minutes now. I need to leave. If you want to continue, go ahead without me. Sorry, I have to. Something urgent.
Yeah, that's probably a good point there. Unless anyone has any other pressing questions about their roles, what they're doing, design, tasks, etc.
Nope.
All right, then we will adjourn, and I will see everyone at least by I think Friday. We said was the next meeting.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Until then, I'll be in Discord. Most of the other people will. So, see you later. Thanks for coming, guys.
You did get this recorded, right, Connor?
Oh, I totally forgot. No, I'm kidding. I got it. I recorded everything.
I swear, I was about to like reach through your screen and punch you in the face.
All right. Stop recording.